Welcome, and thanks for taking time to join me today. I'm David Denault, and this is Special Report on what the James Webb Space Telescope has shown scientists about the Big Bang Theory. Many scientists have been studying these new images and determining evidence that has stood for many years. The Big Bang Theory essentially states that the universe began some 14 billion years ago in an incredibly hot and dense state that has been expanding ever since. The new evidence would debunk the Big Bang Theory in a big way, as the initial idea is the universe exploded into existence and began to expand. With more is astronomer Michelle Tuller.
Alyssa, you have asked one of the best questions in all of astronomy. The Big Bang was the start of our universe. So where is the chance to kind of talk about some of the misperceptions we have about the Big Bang? Now, when you hear the term Big Bang, that implies an explosion. And we all know how explosions work from our experience. Things actually fly out from a common center. And one of the things is that scientists really don't like describing the Big Bang as an explosion at all. That sort of sets you up in the wrong direction right away, because you could imagine that there are galaxies all flying apart away from each other, away from a common center, and flying out into empty space. And the universe we observe is absolutely nothing like that. For example, the whole volume of the universe that we can see with the Hubble Space Telescope, we can see to a distance of nearly 13 billion light years. All of that volume is filled with galaxies. There is no empty center to the universe. And the other thing that we don't observe, and we're pretty sure that nobody else ever could either, is being on the edge of that, being on a galaxy right on the edge of expansion and seeing all of the galaxies in one direction because you're looking inside and nothing but empty space on the outside. Space never looks like that. All around us we see galaxies. The universe is filled with them. So what's really going on here? And this really gets at the crux of what the Big Bang was. The Big Bang wasn't an explosion of matter. It was an expansion of space itself. So that simply means that any amount of space in the universe is expanding, and everything is getting farther away from everything else. I know that's very hard to visualize. Some people talk about blowing up a balloon, and this always, to me, can put you in the wrong direction, because they say, aha, a balloon has an empty center and everything expands away from it. What they haven't told you is you need to pay attention just to the surface of the balloon. Pretend that there's no such thing as inside or outside the balloon, just the two-dimensional surface of the rubber. As you blow into it, that expands in every direction. If you were to draw little points on the surface of the balloon, every little point would start getting farther away from every other little point. But if you were a two-dimensional creature that could only travel on the surface of the balloon, you could only shine a light. You couldn't possibly even know about what's up or what's down. If you were completely two-dimensional, you would see every point expanding away from every other point, but there'd be no empty center. So the question is, in our three-dimensional universe, do we need another dimension to expand into if this is the case? And the answer, honestly, is no. Space itself can simply get larger. We don't know the extent of the entire universe. If you want to think of the universe instead of the surface of a balloon as a big rubber sheet, you can just keep stretching that rubber sheet. Stretching it apart, everything's getting farther and farther away from each other, but there's no empty center. There's still rubber everywhere you go, and that rubber is just getting bigger. Now, we are pretty sure there's no edge to the universe. Is the universe infinite? We honestly don't know. Maybe the universe does have some larger shape that we're not aware of. But the thing to really remember is that there is no empty center. The Big Bang happened at every point in space. All of space began to expand at once. And so that means that we look out into the distant universe and we see pretty much all of the galaxies moving away from us.
Those who have rejected the idea of God but adopted the Big Bang would then have to ask themselves, where did all of these galaxies come from? So now that the Big Bang Theory has been debunked, what about evolutionists and creationism?
God is outside of time, space, matter, I think you need to stop and look at the theory that you are believing in, apparently, because there are so many thousands of unanswered questions. See, it's much easier for me to believe in the beginning God than to believe in the beginning dirt or matter. If the Big Bang Theory is true, then I would like to know what exploded and where did it come from and where did the energy come from and where did the space come from for the matter to expand into, and where did the organization come from and where did the information come from. There's a whole host of questions that are a whole lot harder for you to answer than in the beginning God.
That was Dr. Kent Hovind. And what can the evolutionists conclude? Well, Dr. Kent Hovind carefully outlines why creation is the only answer.
All right. Well, it's an honor to be here tonight. My name is Kent Hovind. I live in Pensacola, Florida. I taught high school science for 15 years. The Earth was originally created where people lived to be 900 years old. I predict we will find lots of legends about a golden age and a creation event. This seems to be kind of universal throughout history. Most people believe there was a creation, and most people believe there was a time when man used to live to be nearly 1,000. The Greeks talked about it, the Babylonians talked about it, the Sumerians. Everybody talked about this golden age. Why? Well, that's predicted based on the creation viewpoint, okay? What difference does it make if you believe in evolution or creation? Well, if evolution is true, how do we tell right from wrong? If evolution is true, how does anybody tell right from wrong? If I wanted you to make a list of 10 things that are wrong, before you put anything on the list, I want to know, how are you deciding? Do we decide right from wrong based on what Congress thinks? Do we decide right from wrong based on the majority? How do we decide right from wrong? Simple question. I've never had it answered. If evolution is true, death brought man into the world, and death is actually the hero of the plot. Because if evolution is true, one animal evolves a little better than the rest for some reason, maybe a mutation or something. Of death is actually the hero of the plot. If the Bible is true, then man brought death into the world. If evolution is true, death brought man into the world. These two views cannot possibly be more opposite. Somebody is wrong. The word evolution has 6 different meanings. First of all, there would have to be cosmic evolution. There would have to be chemical evolution. Never talk about chemical evolution. I'd like to hear that answer tonight. Thirdly, we'd have to have stellar evolution. The stars would have to evolve. Nobody's ever proven the formation of any one star. We see a few spots getting brighter and they're assuming a star is forming. No, it could be the dust is clearing. It could be a supernova taking place. There's all kinds of explanations. Nobody's ever proven a star. And if you want to believe in those first 5, you enjoy yourself, but don't call it science. And don't make me pay to teach that to the next generation of kids as part of science, because it's not. It's nothing but a religion. They teach 20 billion years ago a Big Bang, and you know, that's what the evolution theory is based on. You have to have an origin point. 18 or 20 billion years ago, there was a Big Bang. I think the evolution theory, as is currently taught in our textbooks, is totally unscientific. There is not a shred of evidence to back it up, and I simply resent paying for it. So my position is that the evolution theory, which teaches clearly 20 billion years ago Big Bang, this guy said the first self-replicating systems must have emerged in this organic soup. So according to the evolution theory, 20 billion years ago Big Bang, 4.6 billion years ago the Earth cooled down. It rained on the rocks for millions of years and turned them into soup, and the soup came alive 3 billion years ago. So great-great-great-great-great-great-grandpa was soup. Okay? Now, it's true there's a lot of dogs in the world, but they didn't come from a rock 3.4 billion years ago, whatever you want to say. Here's the major difference that I don't think you're going to understand. I admit mine is a religion. They do not admit theirs is a religion. They want you to think what they believe is science, and all of you should pay for their religion. The evolution is a dying religion surviving only on tax dollars. Evolution theory is positively anti-science. There's not a shred of real evidence to support any of the theories except oft-repeated lies. Let's define one more term in my last 30 seconds. Stupid. Lacking normal intelligence. Foolish. Silly. A stupid idea. Dull and boring. Evolution is not even a good theory. I think it is stupid. Thank you.
Dr. Kent Hovind. Perhaps our report has provided you with insight on how we got here today. And your thoughts are always welcome. And see all of our reports on our Facebook page, aboutspace.today. And to all our listeners around the globe and here in the U.S., thank you for taking time from your home or where you work to listen today. I'm David Denault.
This has been a special report from About Space Today.